Hello, this is Clarity Design. We're just having a quick look at Adobe After Effects CS 5.5 and we're just having a look at how green screening can work and rotoscoping can work. Rotoscoping is the process of removing backgrounds and leaving figures or foregrounds so that you can apply other video or footage behind them. You can see here I've got a video which I've downloaded. It's an image sequence actually that I've downloaded and imported into After Effects, ready to go. It's fairly simple. I don't know who made this, but thank you very much for having it free on the for the web. Yeah, we can start removing some materials. So there's two different products that I'm going to introduce you to. The first one is this roto brush tool, okay? Because a lot of the time your background won't be as even and clean as this, and you might struggle to remove it from the background like this. So let's have a look what this does. What I have to do first of all is double click on the layer, and that will open it in its own layer. And once I've opened its own layer, I can start using this brush tool, the rotoscope tool, to look at it. So I'm just going to zoom in using the full stop button to do that. And as I draw in, this is just indicating to the computer where I want the outline to go, and it should pick it up nice and evenly all the way around. So I'll just draw it all the way down here. I won't do the whole thing, down to there. You can see it's picked up the edges quite nicely. Now I want to add in this bit here, so the computer's worked that out. Let's just zoom out a little bit so we can see how it's going. Now it's not too bad. Let's just zoom in again and use the pan tool to move across, and then I can go back to the rotoscope tool and I can add in this hand. And then I just need to remove a couple of bits here. So just pressing the Alt key means that we can just remove these little bits here. And it's not doing too bad a job at all. Okay, I'll just add that in. Now I'm going to leave that little bit of green there for now because it's quite tight to get hold of. So I'll just zoom out a little bit more, and I should be able to go back to my my view. Now before I do that, I can actually play around with this. So you can see I've got a smoothing, a smooth here, I've got feather, choke, so you can play around with what the edge looks like and how it's behaving on the surface there. Let's go back to the composition and see what that looks like. Okay, so it's not done a bad job. Let's see what happens if I feather it. So the feather is going, so that high feather is actually going outside. So feather's not helping much. Smoothing it out, well, it's adding just a bit more green in. So I'm having difficulty here. The choke, 5% choke. Oh, okay. So I can remove some extra bits here using the choke. That's quite useful. In fact, I can do quite a lot more than that with the refined matte. Often you'll find that as things move, you get a little bit. It'll update in a second. There we go. You'll get a little bit of chatter around the outside edge, something that kind of echoes or shakes a little bit around the outside edge where the movement is. To help reduce chatter, you can use this here, and there's motion blur as well. So you can and you can see decontaminate edge is on here as well. Have a look at the decontamination, and that helps reduce any of the green flare, particularly within hair and stuff. So it's not a bad job, you can see, but we're struggling a little bit with this colour because the colour's bled through onto the shirt. So it works, the roto brush works, and it can often remove things very quickly for you. In this case it's not the best option. However, these tools here, the decontamination and these extra bits, are available as a separate effect without the roto brush being used inside effects and presets. So if you wanted to use decontamination and the matte options, you can actually apply those as a separate effect if you do a search for them. I'm not going to do that now. I'm actually going to delete the roto brush work that I've done there because I want to show you keylight. And in fact, because this hair around here is quite nice, there's not a huge amount of hair that's kind of sticking up, it's not very frizzy, this is going to work pretty well. And it's also going to stop that problem that we had with the green flaring onto the jacket as well, where we had that colour contamination there. So let's go up into effect, and you'll find it in keying, and you want to do keylight 1.2. You can also find that down here. Now you can buy extra plugins that do a better job with hair and a little bit more advanced than keylight, but for most of you, if you've set up your green screen well, this is going to work out just fine. The main thing you need to do is go to the screen colour and tell it what colour it is. So that's a left click there, a click there, and it's done. And you can see that because it's pulling the colour out, it's replacing those greens that were in the jacket with blacks now. Okay, so it does a really nice job. Now you can play around with how much it's removing of those greens and stuff, so if you've got a less varied or a less even tone background there, you can change that. And also you can change the balance of the colour, so if it's taken a bit too much out of the body there, you can put a little bit of the green tone back in again. So there's all sorts of options down here. You'll notice you can still see screen mat, so there's all sorts of options that you could go and play with and have a look at and see if you can refine that edge. And if you just scoot backwards and forwards, you can say that that's done a very good job of removing that for you. Now if you had, for example, a green screen where the edge ended maybe before the edge of the frame and maybe over here, and you wanted to get that out black as well, the simplest thing to do there is to use a mask relatively tightly around your object, and that's going to stop any of that stuff on the outside edge being shown, so that's automatically black. And then when you turn your key light on, obviously turn that up a bit too high, then you're left with your black outline there. Okay, obviously you've got to be careful that your character doesn't swing outside your mask during the motion, otherwise you might need to animate that mask or change the size of it. Okay, so that's keylight and green screening, and hopefully that's enough to get you going. With refinement and playing around with those tools, you'll learn to use them fairly well. Hope that's been helpful, and have fun playing around with it. Cheerio.